Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show us how to make the perfect egusi soup. First thing, you have your scotch bonnet. I like the scotch bonnet for this recipe. I also have the blended onions and pepper I'm going to use to boil this beef, and my shaki, which is also called tripe. You can use any animal protein of choice. I have 2 cups of egusi here. What you are seeing in the egusi is pepper that I use to preserve the egusi. That kind of pepper is used to preserve your melon seeds to avoid attack from pests and all of that. Next thing, I have the palm oil for this recipe. I have my seasoning, my salt, dry pepper. I also have my crayfish and my fresh ugu leaves. Make sure your ugu for this recipe is fresh. You can't miss that. Next, I have my dry fish. I like this fish for this recipe because it enhances the taste of the soup very well for me. Now, the first thing you want to do is in boiling water, you're going to soak your fish for some time. I like to do that to keep the fish moist and tender. Some people skip this part of this recipe, but I don't skip it. It also makes me ensure that I'm not taking any dirt into the soup. It's also a way of cleaning the fish. When you soak it just for some time, next thing we're going to do is boil our beef and our shaki and your goat meat and your chicken, whatever you are using for this recipe. If your kanda is not pre-cooked, I think this is the time for you to put everything in and boil. Now I'm just going to pour in the beef and the shaki and everything that I'm using for this soup to make sure they boil and they cook very well. You're going to make sure you wash your proteins very well to get rid of any kind of dirt that will ruin this recipe for you. You don't like to take sand, you will not want to chew stones in this recipe. So I ensure that I wash my proteins well before I start cooking. Then I'm going to add my seasoning. As you can see, I've added my seasoning already. The next now add is my salt. You're going to be careful with your salt. You don't want your soup tasting salty. I don't like salty soup. It makes me feel, oh, this should have been better. After that, you're going to add in your sauce. You can see this is blended pepper and onion mix. Like I told you earlier, I already had this in my freezer, so I just took out a bit and I added it. As you can see, I'm washing the fish. Now it is super clean and I'm sure there is no kind of dirt that I will not want in this soup. Now we are just going to add it in for it to boil. As you can see, everything is cooking up already. So I'm simply just going to toss them in and make sure they cook perfectly. I like to cook my fish with the meat so everything cooks well and it gives me tasty fish, and the fish taste is also pronounced in the soup. Next thing, I'm going to stir that in for a bit and then cover it for you to cook. Next thing you're going to do, guys, pluck your leaves and get them ready for use in this recipe. I like my ugu fresh. I don't like ugus that are dark and soggy. Oh my god, it makes the soup boring. I don't like boring soup. So you're going to make sure you get your fresh ugu leaves and then you're going to cut them up nicely after you've washed them thrice with salt and water. Now I'm blending my egusi. I'm going to do that well for everything to come out fine. After blending your egusi, you're also going to make sure to blend your crayfish just to get everything ready as the animal proteins are boiling. Next thing, guys, you're just going to check up on the animal proteins, and as you can see, they are already cooked. We're just going to make sure to take them out carefully so we can start preparing our soup. Egusi soup is a fave for me. It is my favorite kind of soup because it's super easy, nutritious, and it tastes really nice. You should try this out, guys. While you're waiting for me to completely take that out, please like and subscribe to my page, guys. Thank you. I'm not done taking that out, so I'm just going to carefully take them out until I'm done with everything being on another plate and the pot being empty. it's time for me to fry my egusi and get to my favorite parts of this recipe, guys. You can't miss this out. So for this part, this is where it gets interesting, guys. You're going to just heat up some oil, then add your onions. I like to cut my onions in tiny sizes so it's not really noticeable in the soup, but the taste of the freshness is still there. I like to use onions for egusi. Then the next thing you want to do is to pour in your blended egusi. Once you're done with that, you're just going to stir it slowly until everything mixes up perfectly. This is the part where you're going to reduce your heat to the lowest level, and you're just going to keep stirring patiently to avoid lumps and to also prevent it from burning. You just keep stirring and stirring and stirring till everything is mixed perfectly, guys. You're going to keep stirring to make sure it doesn't get burnt. I'm sure you don't like burnt egusi soup, so you're just going to be patient and keep stirring this egusi for it to give us what we want. After about 3 minutes of continuous stirring, I'm going to pour in my stock, and this is the part where it gets more interesting. You're just going to pour that up and add a little bit of water if your egusi mixture is too thick. Before you add the water, you want to be sure that at the final stage of the soup making, you're not going to get watery egusi soup. So I'm just going to pour in a little bit of water into my soup because my mixture is clearly thick. Now you're just going to stir that in and make sure you have a fine solution of egusi and water. What I mean by solution is just to make sure everything mixes perfectly and the egusi and the water ratio is equal. That's just what I mean. Next thing you want to do is add in your pepper mixture. Guys, I already blended this pepper, so I did not show it in the video, so you're just going to add in. For this recipe, I added extra dry pepper. You can skip this part if you don't like pepper. Now if you love pepper like me, you're going to make sure it is not too peppery. Now it's time to add your crayfish and your salt and your seasoning. I added extra salt and extra seasoning, as you can see the video. And this is me adding the seasoning, and the next thing I'm going to be adding is the crayfish. Now you're going to be generous with that crayfish. You're just going to add that and stir it in for it to cook for some time. Now let's check up on the soup. As you can see, it is boiling, and I added extra water because my soup was still too thick. While I've done that, I'm just going to pour in my proteins and stir everything. Remember, your pot is still going to be on low to medium heat to prevent your egusi from burning. I don't like burnt egusi at all, so I just like to use low heat to make the soup until I'm almost done with the soup. That way, you're also going to ensure that the egusi cooks properly without burning. Please, guys, if you haven't subscribed to my page, please subscribe. Thank you. I promise I'm going to give you more and more recipes. You just have to support me. Thank you, guys. Now this is the part where the soup is almost done. I'm going to add in extra crayfish for that flavor and taste. I like crayfish, so you're just going to put in extra, and then you're going to add in your vegetables. I like to add in my vegetables at the last point and just let it cook for some time before I bring it down to make sure the vegetables retain their nutritional values. As you can see, these vegetables are really fresh, so you're just going to still let the heat be on low heat and allow it to cook for 1 or 2 minutes. I don't like to overcook my vegetables, so I'm sure that everything is retained. Please make sure to not overcook your veggies. I don't like to overcook my veggies, guys, because I like to taste that crunchiness and also like to get that vitamin C from the veggies. So overcooking kills the vitamin C, and I'm sure you don't want that from your veggies. Next thing you're going to do is just to stir that up and make sure everything gets cooperated very well. Now you can see our soup looking so nice and yummy and delicious. At this point, I've turned off the fire and I'm just going to let it simmer for some time before I serve. As you can see, guys, this soup is actually an easy one to prepare and you can make it from the comfort of your home, guys. I love egusi soup because the taste is just perfect for me. Some call it the king of soup. Do you think so? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Everything you need for this recipe is in the description box. Now if you enjoyed this video, please, I need you to like and subscribe to my page because I'm just going to give you more and more recipes just like your favorite egusi soup. Egusi soup is something you should try out if you haven't, and I'm sure you're going to thank me later. Bye, guys.